Hello everyone. We're continuing on with the CPU videos. The computer videos. I have a problem though. The case was ordered. It was supposed to be here on Tuesday. It is now Wednesday and it still has not shown up. With my work schedule, if it doesn't get here by Friday, I can't put this computer together for 2 weeks because work is just going to be too nasty. And I'm starting to panic a little bit. I need this computer for work and for other things. So it's got to get here. That case has got to get here. I'm going to go down and try to find out what's going on. I ordered everything off Amazon, like I said in an earlier video, simply because it was cheaper. Okay? So what we're here to talk about today is CPU cooling. Okay? We talked about the CPU. That video wasn't very long because, well, there isn't a whole lot to say about CPUs. Cooling, however, is a different story. You've got two choices. You've got air cooling and water cooling. 6 years ago, water cooling was starting, and it was not a complete science. It was kind of troublesome. 6 years later, come to present time, and this is a very different story. Okay? You have dedicated systems for these things. You don't have to do piping and everything yourself. 6 years ago, when I looked at water cooling, you had to run all the pipe yourself. You had to buy the pipe in an aquarium supply store. You had to buy the water pumps in an aquarium supply store. You had to come up with reservoirs in an aquarium supply store. You had to seal the system yourself. You had to do all sorts of stuff. These days, you can buy it in a box. This is a water cooling CPU cooler, okay? Much more expensive than an air cooler. So why should you water cool? Well, why is your car engine water cooled? Not all car engines are water cooled. Some are air cooled. The old Volkswagen Bugs were air cooled, okay? Now, I had one of those in college, so I know what they're like. If you stop and go examining it, those old air-cooled engines, they never really got over 100 horsepower. And there's a reason for that. You had to keep the cylinder walls kind of thin. You had to have some pretty good cooling fins on them. You had to have oil circulating pretty heavily because they were kind of oil-cooled. You did have an oil cooler on the top. They were half air-cooled, half oil-cooled. You had a big air blower on the engine. Okay? So they couldn't go high horsepower. I did build a high horsepower VW Bug. Okay? And, the whole car rocked. It was kind of a fun experience. It had 4 exhaust pipes coming out the back. It sounded like a V8. The car rocked as it was running. It was quicker. This was like 1990, 2000, right in there. 1995, 2000, somewhere in that time frame. It was quicker than the Mustang at the time, so it was a lot of fun to drive that Bug. The problem is heat. The thing just overheated on me all the time. Too much horsepower in an engine that can't handle it. So it would overheat. And there's where your problem is with air cooling. If you're going to air cool your CPU, and it's an unclocked CPU, you're not going to be able to overclock it much at all, because the air-cooled coolers just can't handle the heat. They can't handle the horsepower, so to speak. So this is why people are moving to water cooling. And these days, cases are dedicated to water cooling. And you have dedicated water coolers like this. So let me open this box and see what's in here. There are many different solutions for this. I just went with the one that seemed most popular on a couple of websites, the Corsair. This is a Corsair H100i version 2. It says extreme performance, 240 millimeter liquid cooled CPU cooler. Okay. Superior liquid cooling for highly overclocked CPUs, dual radiator, 220 millimeter PMW fans, Corsair Link customization control, customized RGB lighting, and then the rest of it's all in different languages. So I'm opening the box. I got my little hobby knife here. Okay, on the side it says, in the box, a Hydro Series 100 Performance Liquid CPU Cooler, 2 SP120 PWM High Performance Fans, mounting bracket and hardware, the Corsair 9-pin USB 2.0 motherboard, header cable, quick start guide. Okay, so this thing's going to directly connect to your motherboard, which is a nice feature, so you don't have a USB cable snaking outside the case to a USB port. Let me stop for a second, move the camera so we can see what's in the box, and I'm going to do everything from that perspective, so I'll be back in a second.